Hello, welcome to our basketball strategy design demonstration video. Now this is the initial screen of the tool where we can edit one of the existing strategies or create a new one. So create a new one called new strategy, and we can open it by selecting it and clicking the open button, or when it's not selected we can just click the arrow button. A new strategy by default will have only one strategy map named 01 right here. I can click and drag it. Now, once I select it by clicking it, I have a lot of buttons where I can rename the strategy map, for instance S1. I can change its color, or I can edit the map or create new transitions. For now, let's just edit the map and see what it looks like. The default positioning of the offense players are here and the defense players to the right, and I can click and drag on each player to move it. Now, if I click the player, I'll have a little bit more options. So I can set the player with the ball, indicated by the little orange circle, and I can change the playing area size, the width, and the height. I can also rotate it by using the rotate button right here. So the user can freely move each player as he wishes and change the size of each playing area. We also have the button to rotate the view in case the user is more accustomed to this kind of view. Let's go back to the strategy graph and take a look at it and create a new transition, for instance. So if I select the player and ask for a new play, a new strategy map will be created and a transition will be created automatically. Now we can see the transition is selected by the highlight in green on the transition label, like so. And I can change the name of the transition, I can delete it and everything else that the buttons allow me to do. For instance, I can also change the color of the transition. So once the transition is selected, I can change the risk value for the simulation here on the bottom, and I can also change the reward value of any of the maps again on the bottom. So let's select the transition and take a look at what the default transition looks like. So by default, we simply make each player move 1 meter to the right, like so. And you notice that the ball remains with the same player. On the bottom here, the slider that I can move indicates what will happen during the transition. So if I update the values of each waypoint, for instance making them move a little further, they'll move a little further. And we can see that the transition lasts a little longer too, now 1.4 seconds. The player with the ball is indicated with a squiggly line and orange circle. And I can move the initial position and the end position for each of the players by simply clicking and dragging, like so. I can also click on the middle of a path to create a new waypoint, and with this I can create more elaborate paths for each of my players. For instance, this squiggly line here, the number 4 is executed. If I select one of the waypoints, I can also delete it to simplify the path again, and everything will be updated accordingly. I can also set a wait time for each of the paths for player synchronization. For instance, right now, and by default, he waits 0 seconds, but I can increase this time, and if we run the transition again, you see that player 4 stops for a little while, and then carries on with his path. If I right-click, let me just delete this. If I right-click on the player with the ball, I start a pass. So this dotted arrow will indicate the pass. And if I choose, for instance, player number 4 and drop it, we'll create a pass. And you notice that the pass was created a little further on the path, and this is due to the timing. So when player 3 reaches this point and passes, the pass will arrive at that location. So this is automatically updated for the user. And if I wanted to, I can create a shoot attempt by simply creating a pass to the basket position, as indicated by this double arrow right here. So this is a shoot attempt. Everything is selectable, and we can also delete it. For instance, I delete both the pass and the shoot attempt, and now player 3 still has the ball. Now, something else that we can do with player synchronization, for instance, say I want player 3 and 4 to cross paths at the exact same time. Right now this isn't happening, so I can try to increase the timing. So, for instance, if I increase time for player number 4, they go further apart. So I might need to zero this time, create a new waypoint for player number 3, and then increase the time. And then this will work, but it was very difficult to accomplish for a regular user. So what we did instead, let me just delete this, we created the recording button. The recording button, once clicked, will simply record everything I do with the player. So for instance, if I drag player number 5 across some random path, you notice that the path was recorded and every other player moved along with it. So let me just reset that. Okay. And so if I wanted to do the crossing of player 4 and 5, I can set player 4 to move, and then player 5, I can just stop during the recording, notice the icon, and then go forward. That green icon actually indicates that I stopped the player, so a stop time will be created at that waypoint. And player 3 will stop for half a second, and then move, and I have the cross that I wanted. Again, this greatly facilitates the creation of transitions. Another thing to notice is that some other actions we create automatically. For instance, the screen action is created automatically when the path of player 5 right here intercepts the path of player 3. So this is automatically created and indicated by the head of the arrow. So let me create a pass here to show something else. So if a pass is occurring here, and I bring the player 5 next to player 3's path, the dotted line automatically becomes a hashtag indicating a handover action. So this is also created automatically for the player. Okay, let's go back to the strategy graph. Now this is a very simple strategy just created to demonstrate the editing tools. So let me open up the regional strategy, for instance, and it has a lot more plays. This is still a very simple strategy, but there are a lot more plays, and let me show you a few of them. So I'll start with this one and randomly pick the paths whenever they fork. So this is the second transition. Player 1 hands over the ball to player 5, then player 5 will pass to player 3. Now at this point there's a fork in the path where player 3 can choose any of the players to receive the pass and score attempt. But we chose player number 1. So here we have a different play, where player 1 travels with the ball and passes to player 4. Player 4 will hand over the ball to player 3. And then here, with the fork, player 3 actually decides to pass the ball to player 1. Could have passed the ball to player 2 also. And then player 1 will enter the 3-point area with the screen attempt by player 4 and then attempt to score. Finally, just one more. Player 1 will walk all the way to the right with the assistance of player 5. Then he'll pass the ball to player 4, like so. And then player 4 will hand over the ball to player 2. And finally player 2 moves to the top of the paint with the screen by player 5. And finally passes the ball to player 4, who attempts to score. Well, this is it for this video. Thanks for watching.